Hello, hi, welcome everybody to Praan Foundation's webinar, Not All Talk, Real People, Real Stories. This month we have spent all our time understanding exam stress and students. And after conversations with the Praan first responders and understanding in general how students are feeling at this time and how the teachers have been feeling not only for this particular time but with the pandemic over the entire year, there are no two questions about how important and concerning this topic has been for every individual who is writing their exams this year, also conducting their exams this year. So, definitely, exam time is a time of stress, but with the added uncertainty that this year has brought with the COVID and the pandemic, the uncertainty is so much more, and there are so many more causes of stress or stress factors that have been looming around the heads of students this year. And we couldn't have found a better time to speak about this. So, I really, really want to take this opportunity to thank our panel for today for coming up, taking time out of their really busy schedules. I know some of you are preparing for exams, and some of you are preparing to like start out your internships. And I know, Varsha, that you also have a very busy schedule being a teacher. So, first of all, I really want to thank all the four of you for agreeing to be a part of the panel today. So, guys, to everybody watching, let me introduce our panel of first responders. We have Varsha Vasani with us, who's a teacher. We have Bhavya with us, who's a medical student. We have Aryaki, who's a journalism student, and we have Damandeep, who is an engineering student. So, although I am done with your introduction, guys, I'm going to request you guys to, quickly, take a minute and speak about yourselves and, introduce yourselves to everybody who's watching you all today. So, let's begin with Damandeep.
So, hello everyone. I'm Damandeep. I'm a third year engineering student, and I'm also a first responder with Praan.
Thank you so much, Damandeep. Now, can we please have Varsha introduce herself?
Hello everyone, I'm Varsha Vasani. In my professional capacity, I'm a teacher and I'm also a first responder with Praan.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Bhavya, if you could please introduce yourselves.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Dr. Bhawya Malhotra, and I'm an intern at Bharti Hospital now. Just cleared my final year MBBS exams, and I'm also first responder with Praan.
Thank you so much, Bhavya, and good luck with your internship. I know you've just started, and I hope you do like a brilliant job. Aryaki.
Hello everyone, I'm Aryaki Mishra. I am a film student specializing in cinematography, and I'm also a first responder with Praan.
Thank you so much, Aryaki, for introducing yourselves to everybody. So, today we've all gathered to speak about exams. So, let's start off at a very generic note, and let's talk to our audience about what is probably the first thought or the first phrase that comes to your mind when you hear the word exams or examination. So let's go in the same order. And Damandeep, if you would tell us what comes to your mind when you hear the word exams.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is definitely studying all night, and I do wonder sometimes that how do I even get the immense energy to pull an all nighter, and probably the stress and anxiety of the exams that makes me do so.
I know, absolutely. Like for us to just stay awake for a night would be so difficult. But with exams, it's always a wonderment how we are probably able to, pull it off. So, yes, it's probably the stress and anxiety, like you rightly pointed out, Namandeep. Let's move to Varsha. So, Varsha, maybe, like let's reel back in time for you. And, when you hear the word exams, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, actually, even I would like to share when I was a student and at this time too, when I see students who are coming for the examination, the panic, they are getting panic easily, stress, anxiety is that, and even I can say last minute study. Whatever you have read the whole year, that doesn't matter, but the last minute study is important.
Exactly. So I think what comes to your mind is the panic and the last minute study that we put in order to be able to brush up with what we've studied the entire year. So thank you for your thoughts, Varsha. Bhavya.
Other than sleepless nights, there's lots and lots of binge drinking on coffee, and feeling guilty on doing anything other than studying, whether it's eating or watching something, watching any show. It's always filled with guilt because there's so much portion to cover, and there's always something left. Always the fear that we're leaving something out, ye reh gaya, ye bhul gaye. Lots of pressure. It gives me a shiver down my spine when I think about that month, the whole exam month. It's crazy.
I mean, with being with having been a medical student, I can totally understand when you bring it with a phrase that is a shiver down the spine for an entire month. It's not about one exam and the guilt of doing something else. I mean, we really need to address this question: should we be feeling guilty of taking a break from studying, and is it healthy to feel guilty that way? I think this is something that we should all ask ourselves, and we'll definitely address it either in the course or through our posts on social media. So that's a very good thought, Bhavya. Thank you. Aryaki.
When I think of exams, I think of time management because that is something that I have always lacked whenever I've written my exams. How do I finish my paper at time? Sometimes, even when we used to have our 3 hour papers, that time would be like, like really less for me. And I would always struggle with that. So till today, as a college student, when I write my papers, I think, okay, I need to finish in time.
I know. I can't tell you the number of dreams I've had, especially around writing my 10th and 12th board, where I have this thought of, of having have woken up late, going through some messy traffic or some life threatening dreams, and, having have reached the exam hall only to know that the time is over. I can't tell the number of dreams I've probably had, especially when writing my boards. It's just it's immense. And time management is something that a student struggles with not only during exams, I believe, but throughout. It's very difficult. I mean, also with the current times that are there with us, the number of assignments we are required to do, and there is no boundary. Like, I think we've been speaking about boundaries not being there in the pandemic ever since the month of November, that as there is no boundaries. So everybody feels that you're at home and you have all the time in the world. So you can do as much as they ask you to do, which is then of course not right, but it's happening everywhere. So yes, time management is a huge challenge. Thank you so much, guys, for bringing up all your thoughts about it. So we've kind of been able to speak about stress, anxiety, pulling all nighters, and studying to the last minute, feeling guilty, being able to manage time, or studying at the last minute. So these are general phrases which all of us associate with examinations, and we definitely need to work a way around this, because all of us as first responders and having little to more knowledge about psychology somewhere understand that maybe it's not very healthy. So let us now delve into individual questions, where I'm going to request you guys to speak about your thoughts on certain questions which are more related to the field you're studying in right now. Okay, so if you're all ready, let's start with Damandeep. So, Damandeep, engineering students are required to study, remember, and recall a vast length of curriculums for their examinations. So, what strategies do you use? Because, I mean, it's there in many fields, but engineering is also one of them. So, what strategies do you use when you're trying to prepare for your examination?
Yes, I completely agree that be it any professional degree, be it engineering or architecture or CA or CS, there's a vast syllabus that is involved, and any individual who is preparing for such degree, I must suggest that he or she should be ready to put the extra effort if they want a fruitful result. So some of the techniques that I use is the most important one being the proper organization. So preparing a timetable or making a simple to-do list does immensely helps. And I would say breaking down the syllabus into smaller parts is also quite helpful. So it also ensures that vast majority of the syllabus gets covered on time. Moreover, I would say that in order to ensure that one doesn't faces a mental burnout, it's very important to take breaks during the study. And I usually take a break after an hour and a half of study. and that time can be utilized for a hobby or even looking further advanced topics of the subject. Because personally, engineering syllabus only does cover the basics of the subject, I would
Right.
say. And another thing that immensely helps during the exams is being a part of a support system, uh, be it your classmates, friends, even your seniors and teachers. It really does help tackling the stress of exams. I mean, seniors can help you share their experience with a particular subject, and even the teachers as well. Moreover, not only the study aspect, one should also reach to their parents or friends in if he or she is feeling, I would say, under the cloud emotionally. So uh, it immensely helps that there is a place where one can vent their feelings without being judged and all. So, yeah.
I think Damandeep, in a very crisp fashion, you have actually spoken about some of the most important things. Right from how organization matters to how taking break matters, to how having a support system is also very important. And in terms of a support system, you also mentioned the various aspects of the community which can be out there for you. So when we were discussing, the fact that most of us feel guilty if we take a break during examinations, I think that is one myth that you have busted here for us, that when you are having examinations, it's important, and this is scientifically proven that it is very important for us to take breaks between our studies. Otherwise, after a particular point in time, so we do as human beings have an attention span, and after that span is over, say in adults, it might be anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes, 40 to 50 minutes almost. Once that span is over, how much ever you try, you're not going to be able to retain or keep looking or studying information. So short breaks, measured breaks, is very important. I know one challenge that comes up is I do take a break, but what if I get carried away and I don't come back to studying? I think that is the bigger challenge here. That मैं अगर break लूंगा तो फिर it'll be one video leading to another, and but this might happen maybe if you're on your mobile phones. What we can do is identify other hobbies or something else that might help us take our uh, give us a break and then help us come back. Another thing that you spoke about that came up actually in the huddle yesterday, and I think Damandeep, you were a part of the huddle, was having seniors as an important support system, because these are people who have exactly gone through what you're going through right now, maybe just an year or two earlier, and the strategies, the notes, and things like that that they would be able to share. It's it's gold, like it's treasure, so I think they should form a very important part of the support system of all students. So thank you so much, Damandeep, for giving us an idea of what you do. And I'm sure that everybody listening, especially the engineering students or students who have professional degrees with vast curriculums, can pick up points from what you have said. So thank you, Damandeep. Now, coming to Varsha. So, Varsha, what I want to speak with you about is actually learning disabilities. Okay. I know that in the current times, we do have more knowledge about what learning disabilities are, and their early detection has now happened and is now possible because slowly but steadily the stigma is breaking. So, just to tell everybody who's with us here that a learning disability is basically an individual's or a child's lack of capacity to grasp information and reproduce information in a particular mode of learning. And learning disabilities could be across a full range, and this happens because just general neurological issues that have come up. Pujita did spend a lot of time explaining the same thing when we did You Ask, We Answer just last week. So learning disabilities could be of various kinds. It could be an inability to read what is there in front of you, an inability to do basic mathematics, or finding it difficult to write what you have studied, and of course of various kinds. So Varsha, with regards to learning disabilities, the question for you is that In your term as a teacher, have you ever dealt with a child, or do you know of a colleague who has dealt with a child with learning disabilities? So, this is the first part of the question. The second part is that if you're aware of something like this, what steps do you think that we should take as teachers, institutions, or the community in general to address these challenges that students of learning disabilities might face?
Ma'am, I would like to say just before 2 years, one of my colleagues, she was having a child in her class, and that child was facing the problem of learning with disability. So we had done too much R&D, I can say, research and development on that, that how we can teach that child better, so he can learn better. Right. So for that, actually, I come to know that people were not that much aware about this word learning with disabilities before 1963. But in 1963, Samuel Eckert, okay, he
Yeah.
was the first person to use this term in the conference in Chicago. Then in 1970, it became an act. And then actually, slowly and gradually, people came to know about this learning with disabilities. Alright. So what actually from past few years, okay, some institute have started taking the first steps towards that. Some people have started working on that. Now, actually, awareness is coming that yes, your kids are facing, even can say, young children are also facing this problem, learning with disabilities. Right. So, uh, we should have a long way. Yeah, we are aware. We know these things are happening, but still we need to work much on that. So, what as a teacher I can do? Would like to share the first thing what I can do, that I can educate myself. There are hundreds of courses are available in the I can say many institutes are working on that. Okay, as a teacher, what I can do, I can educate myself. I can join that type of courses where I can come to know that what I can do with that kids, how I can identify, how I can work on them. Even schools can also help. Right, schools can train the teachers the way that teachers will come to know that how we can train that kids. The second thing I would like to say, identify a cry for help versus excuse. Sometimes we feel like a child is just giving excuse.
Right.
He wants to play more, right? He don't want to concentrate. He don't want to sit. But actually, the child is facing problem, and that actually impacts on its self esteem. Oh, but that child actually, it impacts on self esteem. So what we should do, we should actually understand the difference, that either the child is facing problem with learning with disabilities, or actually his concentration problem is there. So first, as a teacher, I should understand how I can differentiate, and how I can work on the child. Right. The second thing is limiting the students and teachers ratio. I have seen in many schools that just 40 kids are there and one teacher is there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and one or two kids are there in the class who are facing this problem. Okay, what a teacher can do, a teacher cannot concentrate on all the kids together. So I think that should some limitation, within 25 students, if one teacher is there, then a teacher can work better. All right. The third thing, sensitize other students. When even I face the same problem when I went in my colleague's class, that other kids were feeling like, they don't want to talk with that child. They actually maintain the distance, and that actually, impacts on the child's mental health.
Right.
Who's facing that problem? Right. So what we can do, first we should, sensitize the other students. We should teach them that the child is facing problem, that is our friend. So how we all can help that child to come out of that. Even we can take the help of that kids with that students too. Okay. Even we can take the help of the school counselor. Now I can see almost each schools are having the school counselors, right? They can help us. They can help us to find out the better way. We can take the help of the parents. We can sit together, we can make a plan, we can work as a team. Only one teacher cannot do anything, but if teacher, management, even when the society will accept all these things now, that this thing is natural, a child can come out of it. but actually he or she just needs a help. Okay, and that help we can do as a teacher, as a parent, as a school management, right, as a society. Let's accept them. These things are general, these things will happen. Okay, when we'll accept that child, when we'll help them to grow, when we'll give them the hand, the child will also learn how to grow.
Um,
Okay, so this thing we can do.
Thank you so much, Varsha. What really drove me through the entire conversation with you was the fact was the passion with which you were speaking about it. You know, you seemed so passionate to help these children, and that kind of really has kind of shook me, or it's really touched me. So even with when I was a teacher a few years ago, I did face this problem. So different boards, like you have the CBSCs and you have the ICSEs and the state boards. Each board has set rules and parameters to treat children with learning disabilities, or not to treat but to help, sorry, to help children with learning disabilities. There is a proper assessment. There is a way to help them around by giving them some supplementary subjects, or by giving them extra time. So this is by the government of India, that students with learning disabilities should be given extra time to write, or they should be given extra support in an examination. But the first point you said, which is that we do not have awareness about it. So, luckily, in the school where I was a mentor or a teacher, a lot of emphasis and attention was given to these children. And a lot of work was done with these children in terms of having remedial classes within the campus, in terms of giving extra support by, meeting with the parents. These students would, whenever they would have their examination, their papers would be, they would have counselors with them in the examination to help them out. And these are provisions given by the boards, these are provisions given by the government of India. All we need to do is just get more aware about it and bring it into practice. But as Varsha said, yes, we're going there, but we still have a long way to go. So thank you so much, Varsha, for talking about awareness and how to handle the situation and how your colleague handled it, and the major challenges that you had and how you overcame them in your tenure of dealing with children with learning disabilities. So it's been very informative from you. Thank you so much, Varsha, for that response. Moving on to now Bhavya. Okay, so Bhavya, since you come from the medical background, okay, so the question is heavily related to students within the field. So suicide amongst medical students has been an area of concern for decades now. And according to the NCRB, which is the National Crimes Records Bureau, the number is increasing with every passing year. So, what steps would you recommend that medical institutions or medical colleges should take in order to control the suicides or curb the suicides, or bring out more information about it?
So what I personally feel is that what one needs to identify before discussing the strategies are the triggers that cause the medical students to suicide. What happens in their minds that leads them into such a situation that they do not want to handle anything at all. So once these kind of questions are answered, only then the institutions can have focused plans to deal with and eliminate these kind of common triggers through awareness and education. While this might take a little while, some of the strategies that might help would include, like number one, having a mental health professional, a qualified mental health professional on the campus, considering the everyday struggle that a medical student has to face. For example, vast amounts of curriculum and syllabus, lots and lots of pressure, staying away from the families because
Right.
maximum medical students are away from their homes. They're in completely new surroundings, surrounded by completely different kind of people. Their food is changed. People have shifted from north to south. Everything, the whole world changes. So, considering all the pressure that they have, I think it is a must for a mental health professional to be available on campus, somebody that they can talk to, somebody to listen to. So, about the need to address mental health and promote the counseling centers and students to speak up, go out and speak. Second, what we can do is assessing the mental health of the students when they join the college themselves. So there should be a connection between the teachers and the students before just talking about the syllabus or the exams and all of that. There should be a connection between the teachers and the students besides that, so that the students are comfortable enough to confront their teachers and talk to them problems other than this. For example, many of them are living in the hostels and all of the problems that come along with it. They're not able to study and all of that. So I think that these kind of struggles that gives them a common area for them to share and take their view on counseling services. The survey can provide a quantitative basis for the management of the institution to work towards improving the mental health. These assessments must also help in identifying students at high risk and monitoring them closely through the course. Next, what we can have is training management staff and student leaders. So it takes more than a single person to work towards suicide prevention. Apart from making the facilities available, it is also important to identify warning signs of the suicide. And this can only be done if we have properly trained, appropriate stakeholders that can take a great step in identifying and reducing the likelihood of suicide among students. Also, peer support groups can be created within a batch of students to create an open dialogue. This can also include a senior amongst these batch of students so that the senior can guide them through their own experiences. What are the problems that they're going to be facing in their path, so that they're prepared for what's coming along their path. I think that's what even I personally feel. If I was aware of some things beforehand, I would have been more prepared for the
To
problems that
face
I
it.
faced during the end moment, along with the exams and along with everything other else. So I think being prepared is something very important for the students so that they can handle the mental stress. Next can be the collaborations. Because of the stigma that is associated with the mental health concerns or suicides, it does not allow institutions to go out and collaborate with the nearby hospitals and medical facilities for hospitalization and immediate care. And therefore, institutions should reach out and have a union with the medical facilities in the vicinity to care for the students from the institutions and take necessary actions in collaboration. All in all, what I want to say is that suicide and suicide prevention is not a one step effort that any one individual can make. It has to be including continuous efforts from all the stakeholders within the institution, right from the management to the students themselves. Must that everybody should take in unanimously, so that that's the only possible way we can reach out to those in dire need of help.
Thank you so much, Bhavya, for actually taking us through what medical students do face uh, in a general time. For medical students, what I have understood, because I also did like my PCB or BIPC, whatever you want to call it, and I prepared for my medical entrance. But by the time I went into my medical entrance, I was thoroughly sure that I wanted to become a psychologist and not a doctor, because I think there was a laugh back in our time, that there weren't enough mental health professionals, and definitely there are not even enough today. So, but you know what? Having had studied in one of the colleges, which is popularly referred to as the manufacturing unit of doctors and engineers down here in the south, I did realize that it was right from grade 11 and 12, when most of us are, still just trying to find our way around, or, we're still trying to explore, that these students who wanted to become doctors, they would just study. And the number of exams that we had, and the number of exams that we had, and also, the sections in which we were put was on the basis of the grades we had. So the college believed that if you put all the good students with good grades together, they have the probability of doing much better. And then came the next set of students who were moderately good. And then came, the batch who was like, chalta hai, dekhenge, if we become doctors, we become doctors. Otherwise, who really cares? So it was absolutely on the basis of our scores that we were put into classrooms. And on the basis of every single examination, our classrooms would be shuffled on a consistent performance. And another thing that was really shocking was the number of exams we had and the competitive nature of every exam. Like writing every exam is a competition. You have to give every exam, and the competition that comes with every exam is immense. No wonder the pressure, or the mental stress that students doing medical have. um, Thank you so much for taking us through some protocols or procedures that could be put in place in terms of general assessments that could be done, having collaborations with outside units, or having teams of staff and management and students put together who could be there when a student actually needs them. So it's been very informative from you, Bhavya. Thank you so much for that. And now let's move to the next person. Last but not the least on the panel, we have Aryaki with us. So, Aryaki, for you, the question that I have today is more to do with the current times. Because you're a film student, like you did tell us in your introduction, and it has particularly been difficult for students who need excessive outside exposure with the COVID. So, my question for you with regards to this is that the current times have brought immense uncertainty. While the mode of teaching has shifted to virtual teaching more from the traditional teaching, exams have not been happening. Practical learning has almost come to a standstill, and this is definitely going to have a great impact on careers of students whose careers thoroughly depend on doing something outside of what they learn in theory. So, has this shift taken a toll on you as an individual, and how have you been dealing with it so far?
Um, I'm a film student, and when I first enrolled in my college, I was I thought that okay, now I'm going to shoot my film. I'm going to tell the world what I think, and I'm going to learn how to use those fancy equipments, and I'm going to um master it. I'm just gonna be really good at it. This was my thought process going into it, and I bet more than half of my classmates thought the same thing. And first year we had a lot of theory. We were watching films, and in our classrooms we had that big projector and the screen, and we used to watch the films, and we used to watch each corner of the frame to see all the details. Something that is not possible when you watch films on a laptop or on your television even. So we began getting a taste of what it would be like for the other 2 years. My degree is of 3 years. So then came the pandemic. I remember March of last year, and we thought, okay, a month, 2 months. Our first year we graduated. Now came the part where we had to choose our specializations, and I was so fascinated by the camera, and I was like, I'm going to show the world how I see the world, and I want to use a camera. I want to become an expert in it, and so I opted for cinematography. And I was thinking, okay, you know what? Whenever college starts, I'm going to practice every day. I'm going to perfect my techniques, and even our professor, he often told us that okay, right now we can cover the basics, we can cover the theory, but after that we'll have to switch to practicals. And because not only handling the camera, there is so much that goes into becoming a cinematographer, right? You have to learn how to compose a frame. You have to learn how to take care of the camera that you're handling. Because on a shoot, on a set, there is not just a person who is handling the camera. There's also camera assistants. So you have to know all aspects of your profession. And that can only happen, unfortunately, on a set. I remember in the first year when I went to one of the sets to just help out one of my seniors with the shoot. I was just an extra on the set, just someone who was sitting in the background of the main frame. But I observed my senior was handling the camera, composing the shot. He was, his camera assistants were operating the lights, the track, and it was a team of about 5 to 6 people on the set, excluding the actors. And I just thought, okay, this is a lot of work. This is going to take like 2 years to learn. How? I mean, I thought that at that point I was like, maybe even 2 years would be less for this. And I was really looking forward to it. So when the world came to a standstill in March last year, I was so my professor told us that okay, we'll do theory, but what after that? What after the fact that you have finished 2 semesters worth of theory and all that's left is your practicals? Now that was a big conundrum. Still, our professor encouraged us, shoot on your phone. That's an alternative, right? Learn how to compose on your phone. Learn how to observe light through your mobile camera's flash. We did that. We made homemade diffusers. We used our mother's old cotton dupattas and we made lighting filters. Throughout the whole of last year and majority of this year, our strategy has become um, adjust, adapt, and overcome. That's been it. And we have facilitated such a good relationship with our professor, and he is the one who's guiding us and telling us, okay, so this semester we were sure that, okay, college will reopen February. We attended a week of college before it got stopped again because of the second wave. So then I remember how disappointed my professor was. We started classes in April again. Thought that I was hoping to start practicals in February, but it's okay. Now we have to think of a solution. Let's build a library of information that's not going to only help you, but also your juniors and anyone who wants to learn more about a topic. Because sometimes, we have to revisit a topic, say composition, say camera, anything. We'll build a library. We'll build a resource library. We can always refer to it. We are doing that. Now another thing we are doing is that we're observing how colors are used in paintings, because when the black and white photography or motion picture was switched to color motion picture, how did they get an understanding of what color to put where? They looked at paintings. So that's what we are doing to get an accurate understanding of how to use colors in our in our compositions, in our films, everywhere. So that's what we're doing, and this has been our strategy, to look at it from a very we just have to always keep adapting, because it's so uncertain right now, but we have to keep adapting, and keep checking on our classmates, keep checking on people, what problems they are facing, bringing it up to the professor, developing a really good support system, as you mentioned, with our seniors. Our seniors were the ones who took the initiative of building the library, the resource library, and just finding those minute areas where you can expand your knowledge. That's the main thing, and yeah, I mean, just take it one day at a time. That's the best thing you can do.
uh, it's really great actually to hear from you, Aryaki, that the mantra or your current anthem is adjust, adapt, and overcome. I think this is something that should be used as a global mantra right now, because it is so
Yeah,
uncertain,
absolutely.
and there is no way that we're going to overcome the current times without adapting to the new times. So I think, Aryaki, all in all, what you have said and the strategies that you've discussed, I wish and I urge that students studying cinematography or professors teaching cinematography come and they just have an opportunity to watch this webinar, to maybe learn the few things that you guys are doing, which seem so apt given the current times. So thank you so much for helping us understand how this has been for you, and how you're taking one day at a time, and you're preparing for anything and everything that might come your way, Aryaki. It's a really, really good way to go ahead. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. With this, I come to the last question for the webinar, and I want to talk a little bit about the EFAIR training. So the emotional first aid response training has definitely covered most of the aspects of how you listen to others, how you take care of yourselves, how listening is priority and it's very important, and how you just support individuals in distress. And there are no two questions or no two ways about thinking right now that exams are a time of distress for students throughout their lifetime. Like for most of you who are here with us on the panel today, you guys have given exams for at least 18 years of your life. But today, again, if you have to sit and give an exam, you guys have shared with me how you might still feel anxious or still have the panic or, still have the entire worry of giving the exam. So I want to know and I would love to learn from you how the EFAT training has helped you as an individual uh, while maybe attempting the exams, or while also reaching out to people who are writing their exams during these particular times or in general. So Damandeep will follow the same routine. Damandeep, we can start with you.
Yeah, I would say that having the intention to reach out to people, I believe, is a very noble cause. But thanks to the EPR training, I got to know the basic nuances that one has to follow, the small little things that one should keep in mind. Basically, how one should approach, and the words or things that may although one can have good intention reaching out to someone, but our words that we use can otherwise portray it in negative sense. So the EFA training has really helped me training myself in, I would say, improving the ways I communicate with other people. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Damandeep. That's actually very thoughtful that all of us want to reach out, but to know what the right way is the best way to go ahead. So thank you for that, Damandeep. Varsha, what are your thoughts about the EFA training and how it has been helpful for you?
Yes, would like to say first of all, it had to be a lot to deal with myself. Actually, I'm a teacher, but that I'm a student too. So sometimes till the time we are not understanding ourselves, we are not able to understand our family members, our students. Right? Sometimes we think that whatever we think that is only a right thing, and we are just stuck on it. But through this training, I come to know that how I can deal with the situations, and how I can be more patient. So really, I'm too much thankful to Pran for giving me a chance to learn all these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Varsha. It's never better to know that you're using it for yourselves, because that's the idea of the program, that increasing your emotional intelligence and your emotional quotient is where we had all started and had conceived this idea. So thank you, Varsha, for sharing your thoughts with us. Bhavya.
Yeah, I'd like to begin by thanking Pran for this wonderful, wonderful initiative, because I'm so damn glad that I'm a part of this, and I'm trying my best to let other people know, because this kind of an opportunity, I did not know that it is. It can be so much strengthening to my own personality as well. It has given not only given me the strength and the courage to help others heal, but also and listen to others, and just be there for others. Sometimes not to do anything, but just to listen them out. And it's also given help me build my own personality, and it just brightens my day to that making me aware that I can bring a smile on somebody's face. I can help somebody out, and by relieving their pressure and their burden. And it's like a badge that's given to us, and I'm so proud of having it, because it's helped a lot of my friends to reach out to me. And I did not know that I had this kind of capacity, that I can talk to others and feel so good and help others feel so good. And it's a wonderful feeling to be a part of this program. I'm so thankful for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavya, for sharing your thoughts. It's absolutely wonderful having you guys with us too. Aryaki.
First of all, I would start by thanking you to invite me to this panel. This has been really enlightening to hear so many different perspectives on this topic. Coming to your question, the training has helped me not to just hear people, but to listen to them. You have no idea how many students just want to be heard, because many parents, with all the stress and everything, they forget to just hear out their child sometimes, like what are you feeling about this, and how to comfort them. So when my friends reach out to me, or sometimes when I ask them how do you feel about their exams, they're thankful, and then hear them rant it out, and at the end of the rant they feel so heard. I think many of us want to feel heard, and that's something that's a big lesson that Pran's training has taught me. So yeah.
Thank you, Aryaki. You actually have kind of repeated the exact words that I had said last evening in the huddle, where I had said that with the current uncertainty, the times and the examinations, and the uncertainty looming over examinations, the parents are also super worried about what's going to happen with their child. And in their own worries, they will probably not be giving the child the enough attention that they deserve during this time, because it's their stress, it's about their life. But for parents, it's more about what my child is going to do, and the worries just stem from there. And in the entire process of this, a lot of students go unheard. And I think all we need to do is not only hear them but listen to them, and capitalize on the actual essence of being able to be there for somebody. And it's very heartwarming to hear this from you. With this, I want to thank each one of you for coming out on the panel today. Like I did say in my introduction, I know that you guys are really busy and you guys do have a lot to do. And it's been a great almost an hour of conversation with you guys. It's been very enlightening, very enriching, and for me, there is nothing more empowering than listening to people coming out and speaking themselves, and sharing their thoughts, and telling that I think this is a good way to go. I believe that it is these experiences that are going to help humanity move forward. So you guys are now a part of the entire race of people which is helping humanity move forward. So thank you so much for being here. For everybody attempting examinations, all the very best. For everybody who's taking examinations during these uncertain times and trying to create question papers or the right way of assessment, all the very best to you too. Stay safe, stay at home. Please, let's help everybody out by actually staying indoors. So thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day ahead, and I will definitely see all of you in the coming huddles. So bye bye. Thank you.